DJ LeRoy.
Night Watchman, how you doing, buddy?
Good. First show of the new year.
Indeed, indeed. So do tell me that, let's say, Santa, he didn't just leave you a lump of coal, or did he?
Whatever he said, he was lying. That's all I can tell you.
Wow. Even Santa, I mean, oh, you coming hard. So you know what, man? I did a number of my shopping chores right in Harlem because normally I have been doing stuff online. But if you are in the village of Harlem, we got a couple of nice little spots where you can pick up one of a kind gifts.
Oh, we got the best. We're bringing them out today. And if you can still shop. Yeah. Yeah. Now is a good time to go and see these fine establishments in Harlem, and we are pleased and privileged to have them with us here this evening. So,
well, you know what, Night Watchman, there was one of these particular gifts I was actually looking for, but it had been sold out like all over. Have you heard about this one based on a monopoly called Harlem-opoly?
Yes, I have heard of Harlem-opoly. Yes.
Can you believe that was actually created by a tour guide, a famous tour guide in Harlem? Did you know this?
I did know that, yes. Because you told me.
Well, you know what? Hey,
you can never keep a secret.
I can't. So let's cut through all of that. Why don't we bring her out? Miss Carolyn Johnson, bring her out.
Welcome.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Time.
Oh, excellent, excellent. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. So you're going to give us the whole genesis of Harlem-opoly, but I'll be back, okay?
Okay.
See, Night Watchman, because we often get these folks who kind of like step out of their lane because one of these other people is a restaurateur.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, had a couple of. I remember on Fifth Avenue there was Emily's.
Emily's, of course, yes.
That's right. And then, of course, on Frederick Douglass Boulevard, I'm thinking of Mocha, and I'm thinking of Chocolat.
Yes. And Ganache.
Oh, Ganache. See, I did not go to Ganache yet. Oh my God. Okay.
And last but not least, Harlem Underground.
So
that man's busy. He's the hardest work since James Brown is gone. He's the hardest working man in show business. Let's bring him out.
Yes, Leon Ellis. Yes.
Welcome.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, my brother. Good. All right. Well, you know what? Like once again, okay. You think about a teacher teaching people how to read, how to add, all of those things. People of service in our public school system, and she's affectionately known as Grandma. I can only be thinking about Dawn.
Grandma Dawn.
You got it.
Welcome.
Along with her granddaughter Chelsea. What's up, guys? All right. Yes. We have an audio there, right?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. I was about to say. But last and certainly not least, because I remember, as a matter of fact, you know what? John Archer Harvey actually was one of their interns. And this was when we were just talking about floral arrangements and flowers. And that was Katrina Parris Flowers. But now, you know what? They expanded into something even better. And that, of course, is NiLu, Miss Katrina Parris. Hey, Katrina.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Great.
See you guys.
So this is a lineup of folks who have been in this community for a long time in different roles, and we all know them. If you live in Harlem, you know 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these guests. You probably know them all if you've been around for a while.
Exactly. So you know what, Night Watchman, I want to start off with Carolyn, because I want to know a couple of things. Since, of course, COVID and the lockdown, right? Certainly there had been a downtick in terms of tourism. And we were certainly the number 3 destination for all international tourists right here in Harlem. So I want to know, Carolyn, how have you been? How has the industry been since lockdown? And is it truly on its way back?
2022 was a wonderful year for Welcome to Harlem. We did very well.
Nice.
As far as the tourism coming back, which was great, but also our jazz concerts.
Okay.
They came back strong. And this year we're going to bring back our Tuesdays if all goes well. So we'll be doing jazz on Tuesday afternoons and Friday evenings. And then we also started a gospel series on Saturdays, thanks to Craig Harris, who's the curator of both of these programs and stuff like that. But as far as the tour part, it has really roared back nicely for us. We had a really good year, which is great.
Beautiful, beautiful. And certainly NightWatchman. We remember Craig being also a Soul Lounge Primetime alum with good old Robin Bell Stevens. So so tell me about that in terms of jazz brunches.
No, we just do live jazz. It's a 1-hour concert, in and out. We use a local church, which is great. So we're putting money back into the community. And Craig brings in all of these wonderful musicians, and we do it, like I said, every Friday evening from 7 to 8. And if we can get a space for Tuesdays, we'll be doing it from 12 to 1. And the Tuesdays has a tour wrapped around it. So you do some sightseeing, and then you hear some live jazz. And then after that, you're free to eat in the local neighborhood. So we're trying to keep it in this general area since a lot of the restaurants are here, and I like supporting them because all of my other tours have a meal attached to it, which is really great.
Nice. Okay. And you know what? Let me then shift over here to Grandma Dawn. I want to know, in terms of your pivot from, of course, being an educator in the New York City school system to now, of course, opening the idea for Grandma's Place. Tell me some of the things. What were some of the things that you observed in wanting to do this?
I don't know if she hears you.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go back then. Leon, we got to pivot to you then, man.
Hey,
Beautiful. So from restaurateur to Harlem Underground, do tell, please.
So, many years ago, there weren't that many restaurants in Harlem. And so we saw the need to make a difference in that. So we started opening restaurants, as you mentioned before, with Emily's and Chocolat. But also, as I traveled out of the community, I had Harlem shirts, and people kept asking, where'd you get that shirt? How can I get a shirt that says Harlem? And when I traveled out of the country and I brought shirts with me, I almost had to give them away in most cases, right? So we realized that there was a market for apparel, especially T-shirts and caps, that utilize the notoriety and how famous Harlem is as an international community. We opened Harlem Underground in 1998. And so we've grown since then, where we're internationally known. And we make T-shirts, caps, jackets, sweats, anything that someone wants to wear. We try to put something on it that says Harlem, that's representative of the quality and the history of the Harlem community.
And Leon, tell me that you also do some special orders. So let's say I wanted something that specifically spoke to an experience I had, let's say in Harlem. I could actually give you the idea and you guys could execute?
Actually, yes, we do embroidery. And we also do a large screen printing also. So if you had a couple of thousand T-shirts needed done, we can do that for you. But if you had a smaller number, like you wanted 5 or 6 shirts, we can also make that for you, the design, by embroidering on whether it's T-shirts or sweatshirts or caps.
Beautiful.
And the reason why this is one of the reasons why this is so important is because when people come to Harlem, when they visit, tourists visit, they want to take something back that says the word Harlem. That's really important. And so we fill that space.
Oh man. Okay, so I get it. I totally, the international brand Harlem, worldwide known, and Carolyn, I know you'll speak to that soon, but Katrina, from flowers to now NiLu, and tell me about the name NiLu. Where did that come from?
So NiLu is the brainchild of my 2 sons, Nigel and Luke. So once upon a time, like you said, when my former self, when we had the floral business, the boys used to sell used use books and art, and they would bake goods and they would sell it in front of the flower shop. And so I said, well, first of all, there's no voyeuring. So you have to call you have to call yourself something. So NiLu, the original NiLu was born at that point. So just really, once we kind of got out of Katrina Parris Flowers, I liked the branding of having it personalized. So the NiLu stuck. So we were like, you know what, we're going to continue on with generational wealth, hopefully. It's the boy's name. So that's where it comes from. But I definitely, I echo what Leon was saying. And I remember when Harlem Underground first opened up, and I was so excited on 125th Street to see all of the cool stuff. It's funny that you go, especially in Brooklyn, you would go in other neighborhoods and they would have, like, Brooklyn always had Brooklyn swag, right? They, always pride and everything. And my hats off to Leon for like beginning that phase of Harlem swag coming, and people having a place to be able to go and get it. So
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Grandma, can you hear me?
He's muted.
Oh, I can, yes.
There you go. So
no, I think we might be fine.
Yeah, you guys are good now. So you have to tell me about your pivot from educator to grandma's place. How did that happen?
Well, in the 1999, when the building became available, I had the option of having some stranger move in next door to me or putting something that could help in the community. So I chose a literacy center because I was a teacher, and I noticed that some of my parents could not read or had problems helping their kids with their homework. So I opened a literacy center to help the parents. And so Grandma's Place opened as a literacy center in 1999.
Wow.
Now, when 5 years later, when the lease ran out and they upped the rent, I started selling some of the books that I had in the store. And the books didn't sell that well. And so then I included toys and games, and that took off. And I got the name Grandma's Place from my granddaughter, who's sitting right next to me, Chelsea, told me I called it Kindred. She said, no, Grandma, it's Grandma's Place. So that's what the name of it is.
Very nice. And Chelsea, so you've been there from the beginning and you've seen the growth. And so these are one-of-a-kind educational products that we can find in our community, huh?
I like to focus on lots of toys and books that represent the diverse community. So everyone can find something that looks like themselves here.
Beautiful, beautiful. And a NightWatchman, I was actually looking through the store, but I didn't find anything that really truly suits you, except a good night moon.
You better come and take a look for
I have
yourself.
no response, but I will save something for you for later.
I'm scared. So
we have 4,000. We have 4,000 things in here, NightWatchman, and I know that there's something in here with your name on it.
I'm coming by. I'm gonna come by and find it. I'm sure there is.
You might scoop up that last Harlem-opoly you got there, because
that's right. That's right.
We have lots more now, thanks to you. We have a lot more. We sold out, but we're all replenished. We're replenished now.
Yes. Go ahead, NightWatchman. Go ahead.
Let's go back to Carolyn and let's hear about the birth of Harlem-opoly.
Yes.
So Harlem-opoly is my pandemic baby. So I came up with the concept and the idea during the pandemic as an offshoot to one of my other websites, Harlem Roots, which is reading comprehension lessons about Harlem, people, places, and events. And I had about a little over 100 lessons online, and I was trying to figure out, how am I going to sell these lessons? How am I going to convince a parent to invest $45 to get a lesson about Ella Fitzgerald or, somebody like Paul Robeson or whatever? So I said, if I put it on the Monopoly board, now they can learn about people, places, and events while they play the game of Monopoly.
Yes.
But then from there, if they want to go a little deeper, they can go back and buy a lesson. But what makes this Monopoly board different than other boards is that I physically have an online glossary of every space that's on the board and every person that's on the chance or community chess card. So it's a starting point for them. because a lot of people will not know these people, places, and events that are on this board because it's not being taught in school, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And so now, this particular thing, is it unique to in terms of the manufacturing distribution, USA, or did we have to go overseas?
Overseas
get
in China.
Okay.
They manufactured in China, and it got caught up in COVID because this should have been out a year ago. But with the COVID lockdown in China, it kind of pushed back the making and the shipping of the product here and stuff like that. But this should have literally been out a year prior to this. But we finally got it here in the late 2021 and stuff. But it's unbelievable how everything is so intertwined. You don't even realize something, a million miles away affects you what you're doing here. Because for me to get this manufactured in the United States, it's too costly.
Yeah.
It is very costly, unfortunately, to get stuff manufactured here. And hopefully, with changes in Washington, some of that stuff will be taken care of. But they do force you to go overseas to do a lot of manufacturing when it comes down to things like this, because it's just too costly to have it done here, which is really unfortunate.
Wow. I'm looking at the game right now, and yes, beautiful. So were all the graphics and everything, was that done in-house by
I have
your
a young
team?
lady that I found about 6 or 7 years ago when I was starting to put my reading lessons together. So I needed graphics, infograms, and other things like that made. And she's been with me ever since. And I mean, she does fabulous work. And she's an outsourced person that I found. She's currently living in Poland. And for the value for what I get from her, if I were to hire somebody here in the States, they'd be charging me $70, $80 an hour to do this wonderful work that she does here, which is really, really nice. I told her, this is like a forever project. And she's like, okay, I'll stick with you. And she's been enjoying this just as much as me. It's been fascinating, the stuff that she's put together for me.
Nice. And so do tell me, so those folks who may be part of your tour group, right? Tour operation. So let's say they go into an establishment like Grandma's Place, or Harlem Underground, or NiLu, and they see the game, and that's been, let's say, their impetus to purchase there when they walk. Okay.
Yeah, which is really good. And I always try to, I have games here in my home, but I always direct them out to NiLu, Grandma's Place, the Schomburg, because I really want them to be the forefront as far as selling the product and stuff like that. I want them to be the ones to do it. I have an online website, but I really want them to be the ones to really be the face of the game, because they're here in the community. They've been supporting me from day one. And I just want to give that love back to all of these guys.
Excellent. So now, okay, retailers, tell me, is Harlem-opoly back in stock? Do you have inventory?
Yes.
Yes,
we do.
This afternoon.
This afternoon she's getting hers. But I had to take Grandma's Place. I had to take hers first. You always take care of your elders first. So I took it yesterday.
Thank you. I appreciate
Don't break the tradition. I took hers first, then I went up to the Schomburg. But since NiLu has the biggest order, I knew after this thing, they'll be getting theirs today. So yeah, everybody is in full stock as of 12 o'clock today.
Okay.
No, we don't currently have it at Harlem Underground, but we should talk about it.
Okay, I didn't realize you owned Harlem Underground. I knew about the restaurants, and I know Craig gets all of his stuff from you, Craig Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you see, small world. I didn't know that. I didn't know you owned it, but yeah.
Yeah, so we should talk after the show.
Okay, most definitely.
Yeah.
I must say, when we put Harlem Underground on our Instagram page, literally people were walking in, calling, DMing us, do you have one? Our close friends were like, could you put one aside? Could you, I'm like, look, we had to wait list it twice. So
wow.
Yeah, it's great.
And then, you know what, Carolyn, major props. Major props.
Thank you.
Yes,
we just put in another order, and once I get that order, in about another 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to scrape up the money to put in another order after that. So this way I can kind of get ahead of the curve a little bit as far as having enough here in stock all the time, because when it took off, it just really took off. Within within 4 to 5 weeks, they literally sold over 300 units, which was crazy.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you know what, Katrina,
Yeah.
give me a little tour. Tell me about some of your hot selling items there at NiLu.
Well,
Okay.
I got to chime in and say the timeliness of Carolyn being able to well, for Harlem-opoly to have arrived could not have been better in spite of all of the delays, because I felt like with all of this misinformation, lack of information of our history, and especially of Harlem, you know, when she mentioned the whole glossary that she has online, when I was looking at the website, I was so impressed with the plethora of history that Carolyn had captured, you know, just online. So I'm hoping that people really appreciate everything that went into it in the history, because it's like, no matter what happens, the gentrification of all of that, I feel like Carolyn has done such an amazing job of documenting and holding the narrative of, you know, real history of Harlem. So kudos to her. That's why, you know, we definitely had to be a part of it, of supporting that and making sure. So I'd have to say that the book table, which I don't know how to turn my screen, so I'll just kind of show you like this.
Nice. Yes.
Oh,
That's
And I
beautiful.
will tell you that this last holiday season, this book in particular blew it out the water. It's 30 Posters of Power by 30 Black creators. And if I can just kind of show you a couple of the images that that are in here, it'll blow your mind, because it talks about young Black artists. And I love how it actually, you know, gives the story and tells about the inspiration.
Wow.
I love this for like a kid's room to introduce art. So that was definitely one very popular book, but coffee table books are always popular. And as usual, our candle line. So all of our candles are by Black makers.
Yes.
Farms is a great beeswax candle that we carry that really well. It's a family that used to live in Harlem. They're up in the Palisades. And of course, we cannot keep on our shelves the Harlem Candle Company.
Oh, yes. Karen is a devotee. Yes.
Yeah. Terry Johnson, the founder, has been killing that forever. And I'm very proud to say that another candle line, it's called Hummingbird Candles. We carry their ritual lines of 4 different scents. It's a Black woman out of North Carolina who has actually manufactured our NiLu candle brand, which we have sold out, which is a good problem.
Congrats.
Thank you. But I'm really thrilled that we were able to partner with a Black woman to manufacture our candles, as well as our tea lines, which are very popular. We've got all of our tea lines are by women of color. We've got Adjourn out of the DMV area. We've got a local Modestine tea out of Harlem that we carry. And we have Brooklyn tea, which we've sold out of again. But those are, you know, probably the 3 biggest gift items, because, you know, if you look at it, it's genderless, it's ageless, you know, very popular. And I think that there are great ways of capturing, particularly the coffee table books. They dive into people's interests and hobbies, which is always kind of nice with gift giving. So it's we had a really good holiday with top 3 items and the variety of which is offered, you know, within the books, within the teas, and within the candles. So it's good.
Very nice. Very nice. And Grandma and Chelsea. Now, with, of course, the closure of 120th Street, has that been a good thing for Grandma's place, or go ahead?
I would say 50-50. You know, it's good for the children in the block to play out in the street, and they have a variety of things to do. But as far as traffic and cars passing by and seeing the store open and knowing it's there, you know, that doesn't happen, and that's closed the majority part of the time. So it doesn't really help the situation. You know, it's good for the kids who want to play in the block, but that's about it.
Well, for the holiday season, how was it in terms of, let's say, what were some of the good top, let's say, 5 items that you guys were able to push through?
Okay, Chelsea, I'm gonna ask you.
Okay. The top items, definitely Harlem-opoly was amazing this season.
Yes.
Yeah, that did very well. Our STEM kits do very well. We had a lot of like robotic kits.
Robotic kits, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have about 10 different varieties of robots that children build themselves. And that's we're going to have a robotics clinic. Well, robotics clinic was born out of the fact that the parents bought the robotics kits and took them home and couldn't put them together. So we're going to have classes.
We're gonna have
Okay.
So we have STEM for parents.
Right. That was an experience. Yes.
STEM 101.
Exactly.
That's a great activity for them to do together.
Yes. Very
Absolutely.
true.
And we also have the greatest line of puppets and different kinds of puppets. And that's an interactive thing where the kids can make up their own story. We have a puppet theater. Then we're going to put those kinds of things on in the spring so that we encourage kids to act out, speak out, have a voice through the puppet, and get themselves to another level.
Yeah, we've got really good multicultural puppets. Those did very well this season, as well as our black dolls. They always do well. And we've got like a really good collection of New York City transit. So that always does well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good for us.
What else?
No.
And listen, we can't forget our books. I mean, Black History Month is coming up, and we have a section of biographies and autobiographies in little language, for early readers through the teenagers, of biographies of Black Americans, and people come from all over to get the books that we have here, and Confident Kids books that teach positivity in children, coloring books and workbooks and things like that.
Right.
So that came out of the pandemic when the parents were teaching their kids at home.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I recently picked up 2 books out of her shop, and one of them was really good. I'm getting ready to start reading it, called The White Women of the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, and I think people don't realize the Harlem Renaissance up here in Harlem was for white people.
Yes.
All
Right.
the clubs, that was for white people. And I think people are taken back when I mentioned that to them. I was like, we weren't allowed to go in these spaces. We were just there as the entertainment.
Correct. Correct.
And I had to pick that book up just to see for myself who these individuals were and stuff like that. So, I mean, they have books on all levels in their store, which is really good and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Well,
very nice.
I'm a bookaholic.
That's my problem too. Yeah.
Over 100,000 volumes of books. And I want to share that with the kids. I turn all the kids in the neighborhood onto books.
Yes.
Excellent. And Carolyn, I was a little bit taken aback because NightWatchman, he makes a lot of claims and whatnot about being from Harlem, being born in Harlem. But yet when I was going to Harlem-opoly, there wasn't a signage, he's not there.
Next version.
Boy, you really...
a little shout out somewhere for the NightWatchman in the corner or something like that.
Thank you. He's coming at me like Skip Bayless today. What's up? What I do?
Exactly. But
it's all love.
So besides, of course, your obvious Harlem shirt, what other have been some of the top 5 shirts that have been flying off the shelves, as they say?
So what we do is we create T-shirts that are representative, sort of like Harlem-opoly, which is really, really impressive. It's something that that Harlem being such a famous community, people are always looking for ways, and they're pleasantly surprised when they find it. So what we do, we create a jazz series of T-shirts, or we look for creative ways to put Harlem graphics on clothing. So during the holidays, we found out that we were sold out of just about everything that has Harlem on it.
Wow.
So we're in the process now of restocking, and we have an online presence also, and we sell a tremendous amount of merchandise online. See, Harlem is a really, really powerful name. When our restaurant is busy, the restaurant is right next door to Harlem Underground.
Mm-hmm.
When people come to the restaurant, they walk over to the store and they shop,
Mm-hmm.
which helps us in both ways, because when someone goes online and types in Harlem and they find us, then they also find the restaurant or vice versa.
Mm.
So it's over the holiday season was very, very strong for us. So what we're looking for now to ways to continue that momentum now that the holiday is over, because as a business, a retail, any business, we cannot depend on just the holiday season to do lots of business. So I think that it's from listening to Carolyn and Katrina and
Mm-hmm.
Grandma, I think that it seems to me like we should have a connection
Mm-hmm.
somehow, so that when someone comes into Harlem, they're not just coming to my place or another place, but they should have an idea of other opportunities to shop in Harlem, so it becomes a more fulfilling experience all around.
I
Absolutely.
think that's a great idea. I do.
Exactly. And Night Watchman, this is how it should be. This real serious collaboration amongst, uh, business owners, in terms of, saying, hey, if I don't have it here, you might find something interesting there.
hmm
I
hmm
mean, this is beautiful, beautiful.
Now, Leon, I also want to ask you about your migration, because you started out on Fifth Avenue, and then at some point in time you went west, young man, and you really helped open up the Frederick Douglass Boulevard corridor. I think
Yep,
you were
that's
kind of
right.
the
He's a
pioneer
pioneer. That's right.
over there.
First,
So can you
yeah.
can you
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about that migration and how that started?
So when we opened Emily's in 1990 at on Fifth Avenue,
Yeah.
111th Street,
Yep.
there were only a few other restaurants in the area,
Mhm.
and when the development started in Harlem, the developer, one of the developers who were doing buildings on the west side, they came to our restaurant on a regular basis because they didn't have anywhere else to go actually to have lunch and to meet clients.
Hmm.
And so uh, at the time, as we all know, it was done 8th Avenue. It was not a place anybody wanted to be. And
That's right.
it was barren land,
Hmm.
burnt out buildings, and
Vacant lots.
vacant lots. It was
Yes.
just an
And
amazing
dangerous.
environment at the
Hmm.
time, and
Yeah.
perceivably really, really dangerous, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
So people, the residents in Harlem, we didn't have a tremendous amount of options for dining. So hence we opened Emily's, and we actually the first Harlem on the ground was really across the street from Emily's.
Hmm.
So at that time, it wasn't really developed as a retail environment. So we had an opportunity to open a store on Fifth Avenue and 125th Street. So we,
Yes.
so we took that opportunity right next to the National Black Theater,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
took that opportunity to open up in that location. And as the development continued on the west side, these two stories sort of interjoined, because the developers, they were building these buildings, but people were not coming to the area because of what the west side was at the moment. So they came to me and they said,
Yes.
listen, we cannot get anybody to come or rent or buy these properties. We need a restaurant, a club, something that can connect with people coming into the community.
Hmm.
And so that's when we opened Mocha.
Hmm.
Mocha was the first establishment on that avenue. There was nothing there before going up and down the avenue. So Mocha started a real trend. And so, in order for them to rent these or sell these units, they would actually send people into Mocha to talk to me.
Are you serious? Yeah.
Yeah, to make them feel comfortable that because we'll be open late at night, we'll be open until 1 in the morning.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so people began to feel more comfortable, and as they continued to build these buildings, we started seeing more yellow cabs coming
Hmm.
in off that avenue, dropping people off at night, People could get off in front of us and go to where they needed to go. And so it was an amazing thing to see the difference and the transformation of what the west side of Harlem was to what it is now. And we were actually the catalyst that made it happen, because they could not rent any spaces over there. No one wanted to open a store. No one wanted to open any kind of business on, because of the history of what it was. And so we went over there. It was we were well known in the community because of Emily's,
Yep.
and because of Harlem Underground. And so the people, or the residents at the time that they thought created a challenge, were very welcoming to us. One thing sort of led to another. People used to come by and see that Mocha was extraordinarily successful. And so people used to, then they started opening other places. All those places didn't make it because a lot of them were not connected to the community. And so we realized that part of our success was that we were connected to the community. And so the transition went from there until we saw the opportunity to open Chocolat. So we moved from Fifth Avenue over to the west side, because the west side now started to become really strong. And so, and at the time, we did not know that we were a part of history. We did not know we were creating history. We just knew that we're looking to be successful in business, and it was extraordinarily challenging. But understanding the foundational power and economic power that we have in the Harlem community, that I had the insight because before us there was Perks.
Oh yes,
Perks attracted a very mature, extraordinarily professional, lots of celebrity.
Yes.
And so we sort of connected to that. And we were able to create the environment that is currently on the west side, from a residential on Frederick Douglass to the commercial. We actually were the cornerstone of creating that and making it happen. I don't really tell this story a lot, because and I probably should, but then that where Harlem Underground as a retail environment comes in is the same thing that NiLu does on Adam Clayton Powell, and it's
Lennox
with a tour group. It's because you are like an oasis in the desert, right? And then you hope that people connect to you as you go along, and to be able to make it happen. You know what I mean? Grandma plays with the history that she has educationally for the community. Those stories are powerful stories that are sort of the fabric that makes Harlem, or any community across the country, what they are. And so Harlem Underground, our mission is to, in very subtle ways, to create an environment. And now the store has been renovated, and it's a larger store, and it's more modern. And when people come into our store now, a lot of times they're really pleasantly surprised that the store is there, and the store is so modern. And I accept the compliment. However, that should be normal.
Very true.
Just like Fifth Avenue, this is what you get. But the area that Leon was smart enough to move on was in 2010, named Harlem Gold Coast. That was one of the best new many neighborhoods in New York City. The restaurants and the shops, starting from like 112th Street all the way up past Leon. That was rated one of the best new spaces to move into the city in 2010.
Okay. Well. Tell me this in terms of. So I heard Leon's story in terms of people moving, people then creating a buzz, and then coming uptown to actually explore. Katrina, would you say the same thing? Now, certainly we do know that Frederick Douglass Boulevard still is probably one of the hot spots there. Lenox, Malcolm X Boulevard, not so much. So how has your traffic been? Has it been through, let's say, the tour groups that, let's say, both Carolyn, Neil brought to the area, or what?
It's a variety of things, Curtis. It's definitely Neil Schumacher doing his Harlem tours, as well as Carolyn bringing Welcome to Harlem. There's also, I think, within New York City tourism, because now people are getting off the bus. There's the bus stop at 116th Street by the African marketplace where they can get off. There's Airbnb, so now you have people who are not only just coming for the day, they're actually staying, and they're enjoying being, in Harlem and being able to experience. It was funny. People always come in and they say, "Well, we're staying in Manhattan." I'm like, Harlem is Manhattan. You got another neighborhoods, but that's a common. It's interesting because it shows you that Harlem is like, even more than just a neighborhood. They see it as like it's like the sixth borough,
Yeah, like its own little paradise.
I mean, Carolyn made a good observation, is that it's open sky up here. You look up and you can see the blue sky. I mean, I feel like the sun shines a little differently here, but finally, it's with a bittersweetness in which people, to the point that you made earlier, Curtis, that it's the third most popular, destination for tourism. Yep. And definitely the influx of not only the return of tourism has helped us, the wide streets of Lenox Avenue, we're that conduit where we are on Lenox between 119th and 120th, is that people want to go to the African market on 116th Street. They want to go to the mosque, and then they want to go to 125th Street to see, the Apollo. So now there's more foot traffic, going in between those two places. And we're, obviously in the middle of that. But I will also say that there's just been, I think, just more for us. It's not only the tourism, but it's local, it's community.
Yes.
One of the limited moments of COVID is that people have been more intentional and mindful about. First of all, they've explored the neighborhood because they've been doing all their COVID walks. They don't want to get on the train anymore because of the craziness that's on it. So they're really, having to look more into what resources are available in the community, and they've been more intentional about it, which has been great. My concern is that we have short-term memories sometimes. Continuing on with that, people like the convenience of Amazon, but I'm hoping that with what all of us offer through our retail are, to the point that you made, Bob, are things that you're not going to see everywhere. They're special, they're small batch, they're original. And I'm hoping that will continue to be the reason why people will want to be intentional and make the effort, whether they come in through the doors or whether they order online. I'm hoping that continues. And I think that, again, I'm a big, telling the storytelling, and that as we control more of our narrative of, our culture, even beyond Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance, and making it available and having the platforms to support those makers and artists who are doing it here, that, it just continues on. So.
Well, Dawn, Grandma Dawn, same question to you in terms of, let's say, what has been the experience so far in terms of folks driven to Grandma's place? How does that occur?
Well, as you were saying, that the people foot traffic, we're finding more and more people discovering us, saying, "Oh, I didn't know you were here," but they were walking down Lenox Avenue and seeing things like that. But it's tourists, and it's also people, like she said, that are not willing to get on the bus and that are looking at local stores to do their shopping. And every day someone walks in that lives in Harlem that says, "I didn't know you were here." So it's a good thing. I'm hopeful it continues.
Also, I didn't realize Bank Street had
also gotten a lot of babies.
I'm sorry.
I didn't
say that one more time.
I was going to say
Bank Street had closed during the pandemic.
I was saying
one at a time.
Chelsea, go ahead.
Chelsea.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was saying we've gotten a lot of there have been a lot of COVID babies, so this is a lot of like first toy store experiences, and there aren't a lot of those left. So a lot of people like search for toy stores and are like enamored by our store.
Gotcha. Hey, Carolyn, what were you saying there?
Bank Street had closed, and I didn't realize that. So they should be getting some pull from that also.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Dawn, I have to, because I was actually thinking of a special gift for Bob. So the Rock'em Sock'em robots, do you carry those?
we have the equivalent. We have the equivalent of the Rock'em Sock'em robots. We also have a variety of basketball hoops for kids, for little toddlers in the bathtub to ones in the backyard.
So I guess that's where my basketball career has gone, now to the bathtub. That's well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
a safe space. Yes,
absolutely. So Carolyn, 2023 this year. What are we looking at in terms of, will we see a Series 9 uptick in the numbers of folks coming to New York and Harlem in particular?
I think so. I mean, I'm starting to get a lot of bookings now, which is really strange for this time of year. It really doesn't pick up until like March, April. But January, our bookings are doing very well. And I already have about 3 to 4 big groups planned out between now and February, which is great. So yeah, things are really picking up as far as student travel coming back in and just the regular tours and stuff like that. Yeah, it's starting off to a good start. I can't complain.
Beautiful. And as Katrina mentioned, of course, our guy Neil as well. All of you guys compare notes about what's happening?
No, not really.
No,
I mean,
not really.
No, I deal with a couple other companies, but everybody's just out there trying to get their hustle on.
Gotcha.
No, but that's an important point, because I think that just this conversation has brought to my mind the importance of having a connection or a network of different businesses within the Harlem community. One of the things I really admire about Brooklyn is Brooklyn seems to be so connected from business to business and people to people, right?
Gotcha.
And maybe 25% of our business in the restaurant comes from Brooklyn. People in Brooklyn, for some reason, are just super conscious about supporting their community. And I think that this conversation that we're having should be a fire starter that will help us to create at least starting to create the environment that when people come into Harlem, that they know that there are Black-owned businesses, different kinds of Black-owned businesses.
Yes.
Not professional and retail and hospitality. I think that's something that we should do, and it would enhance each of our individual businesses and as a group together.
Right.
Yes, totally agree. NightWatchman, what you got for us?
Just listening to this conversation, I love the fact that, like I said earlier, these are the folks who have been here, and let's face it, there are a lot of businesses that we know the names of that aren't here today, and to have this group of entrepreneurs who have been part of the community for so long and have figured out a way to hold their space, so to speak, and even thrive is important. But I think what Leon is saying is absolutely essential for us going forward, because what we see is that there is a connection between our culture and, these are not just average ordinary shops. Each one of these shops, and what Carolyn does in particular that kind of pulls it all together, is all about a connection between our history, our culture, our cuisine, our music, and they all are part of the fabric of what makes Harlem unique. And to the extent that we can keep these things connected, so that we keep, as they said in Kwanzaa was last week, we talk about Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics. This is about living it and not just talking about it once a year, but making sure we extend it into Martin Luther King's birthday, into Black History Month, into Black Futures Month, and Juneteenth and Harlem Week, and we have a whole calendar of opportunities for us to continue this this dialogue and this interaction to the benefit of the whole community.
One of just to jump in real quick on piggyback on what you just said, Bob. One of the things that we should talk about more is that Black-owned businesses in almost every community in the country operate in isolation.
Yes.
Isolation is dangerous because, for one thing, these types of businesses do not always have access to resources that other businesses from other ethnic groups do. The power that we have is in ourselves, right? But because of what history has created, and not to make an excuse for it, is that I'm very surprised that myself personally is not more involved in the very businesses that we're talking about. So I think that we should know about each other, and we should share ideas and resources without feeling threatened by another business.
Nice.
It's something that is always an issue in a community that we should talk about more, is that we should work. And I'm telling you, I want to let everyone on this broadcast know that I'm willing to step up and to create the environment to make that happen, because working or building your business in isolation is one of the worst things you can do for your business.
Absolutely. And so go ahead, Katrina.
I was going to say to Leon, you're absolutely right. And it's one of these things that I find myself personally challenged with, is that because of resources always being an issue, you spend too much time working in your business as opposed to on your business. And I know for me, it's kind of that, trying to find that balance of just time and energy of stepping outside of the store and having that time to do planning and all of that. So I'm glad to hear you say that. I will be in touch.
I look forward to it. I had this very conversation yesterday with a friend of mine who's a real estate broker. And the conversation that we had was that Black-owned businesses, owners and entrepreneurs work in their business as opposed to on it.
Exactly.
The challenge comes of finding professionals to put in your business and be able to afford to pay them to operate your business from an experiential standpoint, so that the creator, like yourself, Katrina, or Carolyn, or Grandma, you then are the person who creates the energy and the marketability of the business. It's very difficult to do both things at the same time.
Exactly.
Exactly. I finally I'm finally getting to the point where, because I hired 3 more tour guides. So I'm not, out there on the weekends touring and trying to, like you say, run the business. And I'm trying to hire another 2, because I just want to step back from the tourism part, even though I love doing it. And I'll only do it when we got big groups and I'll fill in and stuff like that. But it is exhausting.
But that's the only way you can grow is through that. You cannot grow. You will stunt your growth until you can, work.
Yeah, but it's hard to find tour guides. All tour guides are not created equal. I'm very particular about knowledge, presentation, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's not created equal. Just because people say I'm a tour guide, doesn't mean that my tour guides can walk these streets and walk down any block and tell you a story. And that's what they have to be able to think on the fly. They have to know what's going on in the community. And I make that a point when I'm interviewing people and stuff like that. I'm walking down the street, tell me something about this building, tell me something about that. And if they can't do that, I can't use them.
Right. Absolutely.
And as long as they're willing to learn, because one of my tour guides doesn't even live in Harlem, but he speaks 5 languages. And that's why I picked him up, because he's multilingual, and that started a new clientele that's coming in. So I'm looking to hire like another 2 tour guides, because I just want to be prepared as things start to grow. I don't want to be caught flat-footed and having to turn away business and stuff like that. But it's not easy to find. All tour guides are not created equal. I did the bus tour thing. It'll be like, congratulations to you. That's different than doing a walking tour.
Yes, very, very different.
Staffing is always a challenge. It's always opportunity and then staffing. They're always going to be, at least I find for me, is always, the 2 biggest challenges.
Yeah.
And Grandma, in terms of, let's say, staffing, you just heard that. Who typically are the people who you have working at Grandma's place?
Well, you would be surprised. Grandma grows them herself because
Off the tree.
yes, who works in the store, was a teenager with his father, Steve, who built my brownstone, and he came to work with me as a teenager, and he's been here for 15 years. Chelsea's been here since she was 7 years, and my other granddaughter was there since she was 8. So I grow them in the neighborhood.
Smart move, Grandma. Keep it tight.
Yes.
Keep it close to the vest.
And they are brilliant, and they love the store. They know everything about the store, and they know everybody in the community. So it's a win-win situation.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, one of the things I significantly heard, and this has come from you, Leon, is that 2023, I don't want any excuses. I want to hear the word collaboration, partnership. Okay, that all of you guys, and remember now at NightWatchman, these are only the folks who are on Soul Lounge Primetime, but there are other Black and Brown entrepreneurs out there who also need to come in to this particular mix. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Well, we can promise you that this platform, we spent a lot of time in 2022 showcasing Harlem businesses, and we will continue to do that. And I think we have a few ideas to share about this. So Leon, we are going to take you up on your offer, and I think that we will have some more to say about this. But we are at a point where we have to start wrapping up. So I think we want to kind of go around to everyone and give everyone a chance to give some final comments.
And also where they can reach you guys. Go ahead. Who you want to start with?
Let's start with Carolyn.
All right.
Okay, so a couple of things. Like Curtis said, Harlem is the 3rd most requested tourist destination.
Yep. Yeah.
We are the largest neighborhood in New York City. Don't let them fool you. We are 6 miles. It's not East Flatbush, guys. Harlem is the largest neighborhood. We are 6.2 miles.
Nice.
And we have contributed more to American history and world history than any other space in the world.
That is true.
6.2 miles. Nobody can match us for what we have contributed. And this is one of the things that I want to start focusing on to get the word out about what we have contributed as a people, to let people know, listen, we've done a lot, and we need to start getting our recognition for what we've done and contributed and stuff like that. You can get the game Harlem-opoly at harlem-opoly.com. You can also pick it up locally at NiLu, Grandma's Shop, the Schomburg and New York Historical Society, and eventually it's going to be in Leon's place in Harlem Underground.
Yeah, all right.
So it's all about keeping it in the community, and I wish everybody a prosperous 2023, and I'll see you in the neighborhood.
Beautiful, beautiful. Katrina.
Okay. So what's the question?
Oh, some closing remarks, and also how they can reach you.
So shopnilu.com on the website. We're on Instagram as well at shopnilu. Definitely we're looking to cast our net wider and really expose everybody to making NiLu available online 24/7. We're also looking to do more product development under the NiLu brand. So if I could, just a quick little preview of some of the new product we got. We've got quotes that we're doing with a little history lesson of NiLu. Little books and journals.
Nice.
So more of that to come to really spread the word about Black culture and our history. So they can check it out at those different locations.
Beautiful, beautiful. Grandma Dawn, Chelsea.
Hi. So we can be reached on Instagram at Grandma's Place Harlem. Also, we've got an e-commerce store that's Grandma's Place in Harlem.com.
Yes.
We're also here in person. Feel free to stop by. We're going to have lots of events starting in the spring, like our STEM classes, our robotics classes, story times, and arts and crafts classes.
I want to say a little bit more about that. thanks to the people of Harlem, I have established a not-for-profit for family literacy, and I'm providing some of these thousands of books that I own to be in the hands of people in the neighborhood, the provider mothers, and many libraries and homes where people are taking care of children, so they don't sit them in front of a TV set instead of reading a book to them. So we're going to be doing a lot of that stuff happening in the spring and the fall, and in my backyard story time and other things that are available to children. And hopefully we will have a bookmobile in Harlem.
Yeah, that's the project we're
and
working on.
Grandma Dawn, please make sure that you let us know when those activities are scheduled in the spring, because we want to make
definitely
sure
will.
that we let people
Yes.
know. And
Yes.
also, people should know that NiLu and Grandma's shop, Grandma's place, are very close to each other. So if you
Yeah.
go to NiLu, go to Grandma's place, and if you go to Grandma's place, go to NiLu.
Thank
And if you
We send
and if
people
it's a
all the
nice
time.
day,
We
you
send
should
people
walk
all the
across
time.
town
That's
to
right.
Harlem Underground.
And
Yes.
listen, Leon, Grandma's place wants to talk to Leon about. I used to carry T-shirts in the store, but now I want to carry some products with Harlem on it.
Yeah, we'll be
Nice.
Come in
talking.
here all
We'll
the
be
time.
talking. We'll be
Beautiful.
talking.
All right.
Okay.
Nice. So Leon, you have
So
the
you can
floor.
find us at harlemunderground.com
Mm-hmm.
and or on social media at Harlem Underground. And of course, you can connect with us also at chocolateharlem.com.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an amazing experience that we're having here, just connecting with all of these businesses, because the fabric, we're interconnected, and we know we are. So let's make it happen.
Excellent, excellent. Leon, beautiful words have never been spoken. So that's right. Collaboration 2023. Night Watchman, take us home.
All right. You've been listening to Soul Lounge Primetime on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, and on all your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, iTunes. You can find us, and you need to find us because you want to hear these stories. Please, if you're listening to this, like it, comment, share it, make sure other people know about these businesses. And not only that, get off of your butts and go down and go into these shops, because you're going to find things that you can't find anywhere else.
Exactly.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Guys, love you guys.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank
Curtis.
Thank you.
And remember, like I said, the platform is always open to you guys. If you have something new you want to announce, just let us know. We got you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
So
you.